I lost 25 pounds in 3 months without a prescription. But before I did, fall was when I gained the most every year. The sweaters come out and the belly fat has somewhere to hide. And before you know it, your jeans don't fit and out come the leggings. A few pounds, I'll deal with it after the holidays. I said that to myself every fall, but every year I dropped the ball until I fixed it. 2 falls behind me now, no creep back. And if your weight just keeps creeping on, no matter what you do, this isn't just about keeping it off. This is the same food that took it off me in the first place. Stops the creep, reverses it, both. Here's what fall does to us. We eat more and we're less satisfied when we do. There's research behind that and we'll get there in a minute. But first, the meal I lean on the most to fight back against all of it is breakfast. And if you've watched me before, you know I say breakfast is protein and fat. In the fall, I pushed even higher on the protein than any other time of year. Here's one way I do it. 1 cup of plain Greek yogurt, full fat or 2%. If you don't do dairy, a good soy or plant-based yogurt works too. 3 tablespoons of hemp hearts, 1 scoop of vanilla protein powder, whey or plant-based if you prefer. But if you're using plant-based products, add a little extra powder because they tend to have less protein than the dairy versions. 1 tablespoon of freeze-dried berry powder made into a slurry first. And allulose or stevia if you want it sweet. 58 grams of protein, 12 grams of carbs in 1 bowl. This gets me more than halfway to my daily target before I've done anything else. My goal is at least 100 grams a day. Breakfast doesn't let the rest of the day off the hook though. Every meal leads with protein, that's the whole architecture. It's not just one of these that gets me there. It's the 3 of them stacked together. Yogurt, protein powder, hemp hearts. Not only is hemp a fantastic plant protein, it makes this feel like a meal and keeps me really full. And if you don't like eggs, and a lot of you have told me in the comments that you don't, this is your answer. Now, here's why that 58 grams of protein matters. Protein triggers your GLP-1 hormone. You already know the drugs, Ozempic, Wegovy. They didn't invent anything, they copied it. Your body already makes it on its own. GLP is what tells you that you're full. A bowl like this turns it on and keeps it on. That's the protein working. And here's why it matters so much more in the fall. Fall is exactly when your fullness signal glitches. So I don't leave it to chance. I trigger it on purpose, hard, first thing in the morning. It sets up how your body handles everything you eat for the rest of the day, including the carbs, which we eat more of in the fall. So let's look at what the carbs do here. I wear a monitor that reads my blood sugar every minute. Everything I show you, I test on myself first. My line is under a 40-point rise. That's my number, not a medical guideline. I got it by testing. Here's the bowl, 19 points. 58 grams of protein, 12 grams of carbs. And that tiny rise is all it cost me. Now compare that to plain oatmeal, kind of a classic breakfast in the fall. It has 5 grams of protein, 27 grams of carbs. It spiked me 56 points, way over my limit from a bowl of plain oats. And here's the real cost of that. When your blood sugar jumps, insulin comes in to clean it up. And while insulin is working, your body's not burning fat. It can't do both at once. So that bowl of oats didn't just spike me, it shut off my fat burning switch for as long as the cleanup took. But the yogurt bowl kept it on and burning the whole time. And after menopause, this gets harder. When estrogen drops, your body's less responsive to insulin. The same breakfast that was fine at 35 costs you more at 55. And it doesn't end at breakfast. You come down off that spike and the hunger comes right back in behind it. You reach for something and you spike again. That's your whole day. And in the fall, when your appetite is already running ahead of you, that's a weight creep cycle of the whole season. Here's something I didn't expect when I fixed breakfast. I stopped thinking about lunch. I used to be starving by 10, watching the clock trying to make it to a respectable hour. Now it's like 1 o'clock before it even occurs to me, sometimes later. It's not willpower, it's 58 grams of protein and blood sugar control doing their jobs. Now here's what lunch looks like. But this is the meal that can quietly decide if your afternoon gets derailed, and it has an easy fix. This is where I usually have my dense carb in the fall, if I'm having one. It's not 2 dense slices of bread with some deli meat shoved in the middle anymore. It's 1 slice of real sourdough, open face with the meat doubled. And real is the key word. Real sourdough is fermented and that takes time. Fermentation is where the good stuff happens. The bacteria produce acids that slow down how fast your body breaks the starch apart. One of the acids literally delays your stomach from emptying, which, if you were listening earlier, is one of the things GLP-1 does. Most sourdough in the store is fake though. It's just regular bread with sourdough flavor added. Real sourdough is flour, water, salt, and starter. So if you see things like yeast and vinegar or a list of things you can't pronounce, that's not it. Sourdough still raises my blood sugar though, just nowhere near what white or whole wheat does. And I never send it in alone. Protein and healthy fat forward, always. That right there, that is what keeps the carb from running the show. Remember what I said earlier? We eat more in the fall and we're less satisfied when we do. Here's the number, 222 calories a day. That's how much more the average person eats in the fall than in the spring. And it's mostly carbs. Not a guess, researchers tracked it in real time. And here's the part that matters more than the calories. People were hungrier at the end of fall meals than they were before eating. Every other season, eating more makes you less hungry. In the fall, that breaks. That's the reason I mentioned in the beginning. Your fullness signal stops telling you the truth. The constant spikes and crashes from the extra carbs, that might be why. And remember what protein does. It triggers GLP-1, the exact hormone that's supposed to tell you you're full. So if that signal is already unreliable in the fall, the fix isn't hoping it works. It's loading it on purpose at the one meal that sets up your whole day, which is exactly why I hit breakfast harder with protein starting in September. For most women, breakfast gets a fraction of the protein dinner does, roughly a third. That's exactly backwards. So you're going into the hungriest season of the year with the weakest meal of the day in the front of it. Getting the protein in, especially early, stops the crash and hunger cycle. It stops craving for the extra carbs, stops the creep. Now, there's one thing almost everyone waits for all year that can work against everything we just built, and I need to talk to you about it real quick. It's the fall seasonal coffees. Starbucks as an example. 52 grams of carbs in a pumpkin spice latte, up to 74 in some of their other holiday drinks. And because it's liquid, that sugar hits your blood faster than if you ate the same carbs as food. Every coffee shop has some version of this in the fall. These aren't drinks, they're dessert. I did a whole video on coffee and how to actually enjoy it without it derailing your day. I'll link it below and at the end of this one. Now dinner. Here's what still surprises me 2.5 years later. By the time dinner comes, I'm not especially hungry. I still eat it on purpose because if I skip it, I'll wake up at like 2 a.m. needing something. Dinner is always a protein, healthy fat, and healthy carbs. That's the formula. And protein leads, same as every other meal. Salmon as often as I can get it. Chicken, a good steak, always paired with a salad and or a vegetable. And hemp hearts go on the salad too. But the one I come back to all fall is white chicken chili. Warm, filling, protein forward, keeps blood sugar steady. And it makes enough that dinner's handled for 3 more days. Well, unless my kids are in town because they raid the fridge for this one. The recipe is included in my What I Eat in a Day video, along with other favorites. I'll link that one too. If I want to starch at dinner, I have one. The beans and the chili are already there, but with a plain meat and veggie dinner, it's usually half a baked potato. Skin on because that's where the fiber is. Butter or sour cream, preferably after the protein, but alongside it is okay too. And my wine rule doesn't change in the fall. I didn't give it up. In the fall, I'm usually lighter on the dense carb at dinner anyway, so wine shows up more freely, but not both. When dinner's done, the kitchen closes, at least 4 hours before bed. If I genuinely need something, I start with water, because a lot of time it's just thirst disguised as hunger. But if I still need something, I have it. A handful of nuts, a few cubes of cheese, not cookies or ice cream, and then the kitchen closes again. Here's why this matters more after a menopause than it ever did before. Eating too close to bedtime can interfere with the hormonal work your body needs to reset overnight. Researchers took healthy women and cut their sleep from a normal 7 to 9 hours down to about 6 for 6 weeks. Insulin resistance went up, and it went up more in the women who were postmenopause. Here's what's really interesting about this. It happened independently of body fat. Nobody had to gain a pound for it to show up. Short sleep alone made their bodies handle sugar worse. So eating late doesn't just add a snack to your day. It costs you the sleep that was supposed to protect you tomorrow. Everything I've shown you is a pattern, not a rule set, not a diet. And the reason that word matters is the holidays, because I sit down to those dinners, all of them. I eat my high protein breakfast before any holiday gathering, same as any other day. And then I go and I have the meal. What I don't do is skip it to make room. Think about what actually happens when you do. You show up starving. You lead with the rolls or some other carb-heavy appetizer because they're right in front of you. Carbs on an empty stomach spike harder, and you spike harder than you would have if you'd eaten normally all day. So banking the calories for later, that's what really costs you. Same with the candy ball on the counter in October. Reach into it occasionally. One dinner doesn't undo anything, neither does one candy bar. The pattern is what does the work. And that's the whole point of all of this. GLP-1 medications are designed to make you feel full. That's the mechanism. That's what you pay for every month. Eating this way does the same thing, naturally for free. Real food, not a prescription. A pattern that doesn't ask you to quit anything because there's nothing here to quit. People don't fail, traditional diets do. If you haven't subscribed yet, do that now and hit the notification bell. Fall doesn't have to be the reason the weight comes back. It hasn't been mine for the last 2. The results in this video are my personal results. Talk to your doctor before making changes to your diet. To see more what I eat in a day, including the white chicken chili recipe, and for coffee that won't derail your day, those videos are linked right here for you. I'll see you on the next one.